It's not easy to keep such a thing, but if you need to believe your database model, if you have a lot of the exceptional case, okay, that means your model is not correct. You need to change it, data structure. Go back to the database model and change it. Okay, so that is creating the table. This is another example. So you can see the on delete. So in case of the delete, department is gone at the time, set default. Or in case of update, cascade. What about this one? In case of the delete the social security number, you can set as null data. That may be possible. Foreign key does not consider null data. Null is fine. Okay? So, but not allow duplicate data. Update, and in case of update, you can cascade. Okay, so this is a full syntax of the creating company database. This is an employee. Okay, this is a department, and this is the departmental location, and so on. Okay, you can see some of them are the concursive primary key. Okay. Any question? The best way, you need to practice. You'd better create by yourself. So this is my way. I usually do not copy and paste when I learn the program language, any program language. First time, I try to type by myself. Probably error, a lot of error, especially in database. You will see the error code. Okay, for example, like whenever you have the error, ORA, in case of Oracle database, but each DNS has different the naming group, but this is like for example 00001 is the duplicate error or something like that. Whenever you see this one, copy, paste, Google, you will see the all details of the message. When I use the database, I use the manual, the reference book, but nowadays the Google shows the all the solution, even some of the good suggestion. Okay, then you will get used using such a new program language. So especially even though I provide a PDF file usually include a lot of special character, white character. Okay, so what is the white character? White character means you cannot see what there are meaning, like for example, slash and what tab. Okay, you cannot see the format, but it's included. So if your SQL Plus does not allow understand such a white character, special character, it will be error. So you do better type. It doesn't take a time. Okay. The additional data type. Okay. That's how to create and how to modify the database. Once you create the database, now you are able to access the data. How can we access the data? We already learned a lot in our relational algebra. So we have very well known what? Select project from. This is the required process. So you should have at least these two to integrate the data. Here you have list of column, you have a list of table, and or if you have any option, you can give the option to the where clause. If you have aggregate function, you can have the group by. Okay, and also if you want to sort, order by. If you have the option of group by group having, we will see details. So this is the well-known the query. the main difference between the SQL and the relational algebra is relational algebra is based on the set. It's an ordered set, non-ordered set, ordered set. It's a anyway set. So which means it doesn't allow the duplicate data. However, SQL allows duplicate data, which means that even though that has the output is select something from, then output is 111, it will return as it is 111. Unlike relational algebra. Relational algebra automatically remove duplicate data, return only the one data. Okay, because output of relational algebra is also relation. However, on the other hand, the SQL is called the bag or the multiset. It allows the duplicate data. Why? Because user complained a lot first time when we implement the SQL as it is, just like the relational algebra. I want to use such a duplicate data. Okay, we don't consider whether this is a table or not. It's just nothing but output. So user can manipulate. If we don't want to duplicate data, there is another option. So you can, the user can take care. We will see how can we do that. Okay, that is a different thing. So this is well known, but where close is the optional. So select from are mandatory. Okay. So this is a database that you are familiar with. We are going to use this database with the populated data, which means this is our database state for our practice. Okay. So, for example, to retrieve the birth date and the address of the employee whose name is John B. Smith. One thing, in the database, the language is SQL, the only case sensitive is what? This one. All the other actually doesn't matter. The lowercase, uppercase, you can capital letter, and lower letter, you can use whatever you want. Okay, but for our convenience, sometimes we have the rule, like the reserved word is the capital letter, and also the data structure, the table name is capital letter. It depends on your project manager or the project policy. But John B. Smith should be as it is. The data in the quotation mark should be the case sense. Otherwise, it's not. We already did the same query in our relational algebra. Let's see the retriever. So from employee, we have whose name is John B. Smith. So first name, John, and middle name initial, B, and last name, Smith, and project, birthday, address. We can use this one. We already did. So as we have learned before, select from where is going to from employee, column, birthday, B-date, address, and condition goes to here. That's it. Okay, because we already learned how to use the relational algebra. Actually, that is the way of accessing the data. SQL itself is nothing but interface between database system and the user for more convenient. So program language is just the interface. Okay, so if you understand the relational algebra, the running the SQL itself is not very complicated. Okay. It's the same thing for the next query. We already did this one in the relational algebra. In the relational algebra, we use the join condition for employee and department. And join condition is the D number equal to DNO. We want to retrieve the name and address. The name, first name, last name, and address. That's it. So we can do the same thing. Employee, department, and first name, last name, address, where condition, this one, D number, DN. I certainly search department. So we can do the here, the D name, research, so DPT. Okay. Then this condition go to N. D name is a research. Okay. It's nothing but the changing from the relational algebra to SQL by following simple rule. Okay. So that is the simple query that you can test in your during the exercise lab. I believe that you already did. Okay, the next one is the joining three tables. It's the same thing. I have a question. This one, and I'd like to change the order of this department and the employee and project. Any difference? Yes. Yes, they are different. Raise your hand if you believe. Only one?
Yeah,
it's the same.
I'm wrong.
You are the only one. And the others are the same. It can be same. It can be difference. In terms of output, they are the same. Then what will be difference? You said there is a difference.
Because I don't want to say because I'm so stupid.
Who answered?
Way of the execution.
Way of execution. Getting close. And what is the different execution?
Like first it will fetch the value, fetch the data from the employer or candidate.
That's best answer. Do you understand? I don't have to explain. Okay? That will be your final exam. Can you understand what she mentioned? So actually, database system would like to access data from the last one first. If we do not specify the order, we will see after the midterm exam with the spring break, we will see details. But in general, they'd like to access project first, employee, then department. Or in the original query, employee, department, project. It's a different order. What will be the difference? So let's say long time ago, so in my hometown, the Korea, I need to serve for the military, okay? Military for, at the time, the 30 months. It's 2.5 years. But nowadays, it's just 2 years. Much better. But anyway, it's a compulsory service, so all the men should go to the army, join the army, and stay inside the camp. You can have only 30 days, the vacation during the service. Can you imagine that? You need to stay inside the camp for 30 months. Yes, you need to do that. Otherwise, you need to go to the jail. Really? So that is the military service, mandatory military service. When I was young, so it's 20 years ago. At that time, what happened? You want to see your family or friend?
Skype.
You can ask. Skype? No Skype, definitely. So you can ask them to find me they can come to the military college. So let's say that we have the 1,000 soldiers, okay? Every day, so for example, the 10 family are visiting, okay? So there are two ways to match the soldier and their family. You can check the family, what's the family name, and they can find the soldier using the family name and their first names, the soldier's first names. How many times? 10 times.
10 times.
Okay. The people who is in charge of that interview they can do 10 times. What about this way? Check the soldier, then whether their family is coming or not.
A lot.
How many times?
Thousands.
Which one will be effective?
10 times.
Efficient. The first one. Output? Yes, so 10 family and soldier will be matched. Output is the same. However, performance is a huge difference. Right? So that is the difference in terms of performance. That is the same problem that we are going to learn during the query optimization. So usually I try to give the example of the traveling Manhattan. So how many different ways to travel Manhattan?
The tunnel, bridge.
5, 10? I can make the 10,000, 20,000, millions of different ways. For example, I can drive through the I-95, and I can take the MTA, okay? I can walk, I can run, I can take the ferry to the Port Jefferson and drive. Even I can take the flight to the Japan, Japan to the New York. There are a bunch of different ways, but it's a difference in terms of cost and time.
Yeah.
So database is the same thing. So even when you access the 3 table, how many different ways? You need the statistics. 3 factorial, right? When you access the 5 different table, 5 factorial. N number of tables, n factorial. You know the factorial. 5 times n times n minus 1 times 2, 1. Okay? Is that the only way? No. For example, when you take the train, you can reserve your seat, or you can stand up, or you can take the first class. Even for the same train, maybe different class. It's the same thing. When you access this table, many different ways. So roughly, when you access the 3 table join, how many different cases? At least 2,000 different ways to access the data. We'd like to find what? Fastest way. Okay? When you travel to the New York, Manhattan, we try to find the fastest way. Also, reliable way. Okay? For example, I-95 is always good, fastest one, not always, depending on traffic. You need to consider. So there are a lot of conditions you need to consider for query optimization. So that's another thing. To do that, definitely we need to understand relational algebra. So we are going to use the relational algebra operation to do. Okay, there are several other things we can understand from the SQL. First one is, we already see it. Relation dot attribute. Table name dot the column name to separate. We have the name in department, name in employee. We can separate them with the same notation as we have used in the relational algebra. Okay? Aliases. We have seen the similar one in relational algebra. What? Rename operation. We can rename 2 ways. One is rename of table, rename of relation. Using what? We can rename like this way, right? And also rename of what? Table. not table. Row operation, rename of the column. Okay, row operation. So that are implemented in SQL. We can rename using the, for example here, this is the SL. Okay, then this is the, instead of this column name, we can use SL. For example, the S last name of S, SL, something like that. Or you can use S. Similarly, we can rename the table name also. This one means employee S E, comma employee S S. But database programmer and administrator, they are very lazy. We do not use the S. Also, it's the same employee, so why don't we combine into ES? So employee, ES means we are going to use the employee for two tables. One is E, another one is S. Okay? E is used for employee, S is used for supervisor. So S dot first name is different from E dot first name. So E dot first name represents employee's first name. S dot first name means supervisor first name. So that is the reason E dot super SSN is equal to S dot SSN. That is the recursive. Okay? Employee, join, employee. So this employee SSN is equal to super SSN is SSN. It's a recursive. Okay? That is the aliases. So it's the same thing. Employee as E, we can eliminate, omit this one for convenience. It's not a big problem. What if there is no where condition? It will return all data, okay, without condition. What about this one? It looks like the join. There is no join condition. That is Cartesian product. So Cartesian product is not special. There is no specific syntax. Instead, without join condition, it will be Cartesian product. Cartesian product, you should be careful. How many data will be returned? So let's say we have the 10 employee, 5 department. How many? 50. What if 10 million, 5 million? Too extreme. 10,000, 10,000, and 100 department.
Million.
So million? Yes, million data will be returned. So you should be careful when you are using Cartesian. It's more serious when you have another table. Okay, it takes a long time if you miss any of the join condition. So that is the reason. How many join condition do you need when you join 3 tables? 2. When you have the 10 tables, how many join condition? 9. It's so easy when you are joining the 2 table, 3 table, but sometimes you need to join 10 tables, 12 tables really in real project. You need to be careful how many join condition you have. Okay? However, intentionally you can use Cartesian product sometimes. Okay? Sometimes, rarely used. And what about the asterisk? Asterisk means all columns. Okay? You don't have to type. If you want, you can type all the list of the column, or you can use the asterisk. But when you join 2 tables, it will return all column of the employee plus all column of department. So how can we make the unique data? At that time, we can use distinct. However, some of the DBMS system automatically use the distinct. Okay? the MySQL, the SQL Server. SQL Server as a default, they use the select distinct, okay, to follow the relational algebra. Relational algebra default as a default is a unique data, automatically delete. Any difference between them? Number one, difference. Number two, same. Difference? Employee. How many employees? 10. So let's say it's a non-salary SSN. SSN. Output is the same, but the problem is, how can you identify the same duplicate data one? How?
Data type.
Data type? How can you identify? Whether if I give the number, or 100 numbers, why don't you find any duplicate data? How can you do that? Count? Compare? How do you compare? N times n minus 1? Sort. You need to sort the data, right? Sorting is the best, fastest way, but it's still slow. Sorting is very, very expensive operation. As I mentioned the last time. So when you are using the distinct, it's automatically sort all the data in employee. Huge difference. Sometimes it takes us several days. This one is just a couple of seconds. When you have the millions or 10 millions of data, okay? So it's exponentially increase to sort the data. So you should be careful when you are using the distinct. Do not use the distinct if not needed. Okay? Be careful. But I have seen a lot of the classroom project who are using the SQL Server. SQL Server, as a default, they use the distinct. They don't care in the programming language, okay, whether you use this one or not. But in database, it's important. We have learned the set operation, union. We can use the union. We can use the difference, and we can use the intersection. Okay, how can we use? So we can use the to separate the query and union. This time, the number of columns should be the same. Otherwise, you cannot union. Also, their data type should be the same. No, it doesn't have to be the same, but type comparable. Okay? As long as it can be different name, like the E name. For example, it's a other query, so E name, you can union. As long as type comparable. But it cannot be union with the character and binary, something like that. Okay? Question. Output of P name is P1, P2. Select this one. Output is P2, P3. What is the result of union?
P1, P2, P2, P3.
P1,
P2, P2.
P2, P2,
P3.
P3.
Yes.
This is wrong.
You said that last P1, P2, P3.
This time is the P1, P2, P3. This is the only exception in SQL. Okay? When you are using the union, because the union is the what? It's a set operation. Still, it keeps the characteristic of the set. It should be unique. So automatically removed. What if I want a P2, P2, P3? At that time, you can use union all. If you want to return all the data, union all. That's the common mistake. Rarely happen. I have seen many of the projects that confuse union and union all. So if you want to return all the data like the other SQL, you can use the union all. Otherwise, if you want to get the unique data, non-duplicate data, you can use only union. You don't have to worry about to use the intersection or minus, okay? Because they keep the characteristic of other. Okay. Also, when we join the two tables, there are different ways. You will realize when we travel from the Bridgeport to the Manhattan, there are many, many different ways. SQL is the same. For the same query that we have did with the join condition, it can be different way. So this one is called the nested query, nesting of query, which means query inside the query. So, for example, I'd like to first retrieve the D number whose department name is research. Then there is another operation, in operation. In is kind of set operation. But it can be understood as, for example, DNO in 1, 2, 3. This is the same as DNO equal to 1 or DNO equal to 2 or DNO is equal to 3. This is the same mean. So, for example, in this case, there might be one or more D number, right? We know that in this case there's only one D number, but sometimes depending on the query, inside the D number is 1, 2, 3. Okay? At the time, it means when you do not know how many return data. The time instead of equality, you can use in operation. So in is automatically changed into or logical operation. So one of these, if satisfied, then that employee will be returned. So this is another way to make the query of the same requirement. This is another type of nested query, but slightly different from the previous one. What is the main difference between this one and this one? Here, we can actually separate. You can run this one first, independently. Then output of this one can be replaced by here, replace this one, then run out of query. Yes, that is possible. However, this one, you cannot actually separate. Why? Because it has the E.SSN. Depending on the E.SSN, you need to run every time. So, for example, employee, so first, you may get the 10 employees, 10 SSN. First one, run. Second, run. Third, run. Like this. This is called a correlated query. What is the difference? When you execute the query inside the DBMS, it cannot use such a way